Hey everybody, it's Melody of Wherever I May Roam blog.com, and I'm coming to you from Charleston, West Virginia, my dad's house. It's about 74 degrees in here because my dad is 82, and as you know, they like to keep the house really, really hot. So I just made myself a place in the floor right here because I have all this great stuff I want to show you and talk to you about, and it's this stuff right here. What am I doing with this stuff? Let me tell you. So I'm a blogger, a freelancer, an influencer, and I attend some primo travel conferences. So I was recently at the STS Domestic Showcase in Huntsville, Alabama. Shout out for Alabama. And I met with a whole bunch of tourism boards who give us one of these sheets and talk to their destination, kind of like speed dating, only it's speed networking. And so we have like 8 to 10 minutes roughly to sell each other. So they sell me on their destination. I sell them on my travel skills, influencer skills, and so forth. And then sometimes they will invite us on familiarization trips, or maybe we just want to go visit that area, or we have a great storyline in mind. So this is how we would contact them. So with these sheets, I get a lot of information. And what better way to share the information is to just do this video and give you some ideas of where you should travel in 2023. And these are all over the South. There's no random order or anything like that. I'm just picking up a sheet and I'm telling you some of the highlights from the sheet. I've gone through all these sheets in great detail, pointed out things that basically I like or that maybe you would like. But anyway, just want to keep things fresh and keep some ideas in your head so you don't go to the same place all the time, because we've all been guilty of that. So put my readers on because can't see a thing without it. And we're going to start with Monroe, West Monroe, Louisiana. So I was RVing in Texas and my daughter lives in Mississippi. So I made this trip a lot of times. And whenever I see the sign for two places in Louisiana, Ruston and Monroe, West Monroe, I've wanted to jump off the interstate there so bad, but I didn't really know what to do. So surprise, I met with both of those destinations at this conference. So I'm really intrigued by both of them. And first I'm going to start by sharing Monroe, West Monroe. So some of the coolest things in Monroe, West Monroe are that they have the Beidenharn, I'm guessing how you pronounce that, Museum and Gardens. This is the man who first bottled Coca-Cola. First of all, praise Jesus, because I'm a Diet Coca-Cola drinker, and I'm all about Coca-Cola. So I would absolutely love this museum. Then there's also the leader of the Flying Tigers. The name is General Claire Chennault. And so there is a aviation and military museum. That's the birth of Delta Airlines, y'all. Birth of Delta Airlines right here in this town, this person. So I think that's absolutely fascinating. I would love to see that museum. Then they talk about a place called Parish Restaurant. I don't know if you can see from this picture, these loaded up nachos. Oh my God, they look sinfully delicious. This is called Parish Restaurant. But more importantly, it says they have original duck wraps. That sounds fascinating. And then they have Pop's Lemon Pie. Ooh, sign me up. I've got to get to this town. I'm just telling you. They have a new winery and vineyard called Thirsty Farmer. It opened in June of 2022. That sounds great. They are calling it Fruit Forward Wines to Bold Reds and Sweet Whites. They also have a variety of ciders. So anyway, there's a couple art galleries they show on here. They have the first Friday of the month between March and October where you go downtown and do an art crawl. I love that the stores stay open late, and sometimes they have special food and drinks and things like that. It's also a great place to get outdoors. There's the Black Bayou Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Here's a picture of somebody kayaking. It looks beautiful. So anyway, I'm very intrigued by Monroe, West Monroe. Got to get there. Now we're going to talk about Louisiana's Sweet Spot. And I think it's really cool that they rebranded this the Sweet Spot. It is right here near the edge over here on the corner of Louisiana. Ascension Parish actually is what it is. And the towns in this area are called Donaldson, Gonzales, and Sorrento. But they've rebranded, like I said, Louisiana's Sweet Spot. Some of the things there, first of all, as you can see, there are the cruise ships coming in there. So that's always impressive. I think Viking and American Riverboat go there. Art and culture, there's Louisiana pottery, the Cajun Village. That sounds really awesome. There's a distillery and a brewery. And then there's the Homus House garden tour. I've been to Homus House. It's absolutely amazing. Here's a picture of one of the gardens. I mean, it is a pristine attraction. Definitely you will want to drive to the destination just to go to Homus House. You can stay there too. It's the jambalaya capital of the world. Come on now, look here. Jambalaya capital of the world. How freaking delicious does that sound? They also have a festival in Gonzales on Memorial Day weekend, so that sounds really great. There's several museums, including one at Homus House. They have a museum, and I think we were there when it first opened for another conference. There's the mistletoe market. So my daughter lives in right outside of Jackson, Mississippi, and Mississippi has a huge mistletoe market. It is fascinating. And so I'm glad to know that there's a mistletoe market in this area. And there's also the Tanger outlets. I wanted to just mention that there's a Cabela's, there's antique shopping, all this sort of thing. But there's also a Tanger outlet center. So for those of you who are looking for Louisiana tax-free shopping, a few of the stores there are Columbia, Levi's, Chico's, Hey Dude. I know that people in the South wear those shoes. And Vera Bradley, just to name a few. There's also quite a few bed and breakfasts. So here's some pictures from the back side. Looks pretty fascinating. So anyway, Louisiana's sweet spot. Now let's move over to North Carolina. Cabarrus County. I love that it gives us the pronunciation guide. Cabarrus County. Cabarrus County is right on the outskirts of Charlotte. So if you know North Carolina and you know Charlotte, Cabarrus is where the racetrack is. It's actually not in Charlotte. It's actually here. So Julie, we've worked with Julie for years. She's just a doll. So I love that her picture is on here. As I told you, like this is how we connect with tourism departments. So in Cabarrus, we're talking about new things. Kannapolis is one of the towns in Cabarrus County, and they're really promoting Kannapolis. I haven't been, but it sounds fantastic. They have a beautiful little downtown area. Right here it is. They have duck pin bowling. Isn't that cute? The food looks fantastic. They have a whole bunch of trails. You can go paddling on the Rocky River, and you could even explore walking trails and tour an underground mine tunnel. That sounds really fun. And that is at the site of America's first discovery of gold, the Reed Gold Mine. So I'm sure I would absolutely love that. There's also some farm fun you can do with kids, baseball games. And I'm not sure if this Reed Gold Mine has gold panning or anything like that, but my husband and I really got into that when we were RVing last year. So that was super fun. There are some holiday happenings. So there's the Charlotte Motor Speedway Christmas Light Spectacular, which is a drive-through that's super fascinating. And then there's also the Great Wolf Lodge with an 80,000 square foot water park. So they also have like a snowfall during Christmas time in the lobby. So the Great Wolf Lodge, here's the ballpark driving through the Christmas lights. Of course, if you like NASCAR, that's a great park to go to anytime. But let's talk for a minute about the Great Wolf Lodge. So I was at a conference in Cabarrus County several years ago, and we didn't stay at the Great Wolf Lodge. We just stayed at a mainstream hotel, but they did take us over, and we had a special catered meal. And again, these are all adults. We don't take our kids on, conferences or things. The food was so upscale and it was so beautiful. I mean, I felt like I was like at a really fancy wedding, and it was Great Wolf Lodge. And if you have never stayed at a Great Wolf Lodge, I will say that during holidays, I think at this time it was like $50 or something around that price. At Christmas time, you could have your room decorated for Christmas with a Christmas tree and like a Christmas looking throw on your bed and all this sort of thing. Super cute. Just, a nice little idea for people traveling during the holidays. Let's move back to Alabama, and we're going to talk about unclaimed baggage. I have never been to Unclaimed Baggage. I know it is absolutely fascinating. I think this is probably one of the coolest attractions in the whole United States. The whole United States. That's a big claim. I haven't even been there, but I've seen the videos, and it is absolutely amazing. So basically, whenever somebody is flying all around the country and a bag is misplaced, lost, or something, after 30 days, pretty much you file a claim and get money for your bag, and the bag is gone. Well, the bag is not gone. It comes here. So they get bags every single day. And it is a production how they put the things out. It's a 50,000 square foot facility. It's absolutely free to go there and shop. They have over 1 million people that stop by a year, and there's 7,000 discounted items a day. Just to give you an idea, there's like one whole area that is just ski equipment. So if you've bought ski equipment, a jacket's $300 or $400. Like every piece of ski equipment is so freaking expensive. They have one whole like area or room or something like that devoted just to ski equipment. So the laundry is like cleaned before it's put out. So like everything is like ready to go. They have 3 purposes, 3 categories: resell, repurpose, and recycle. There's also fine jewelry, and you can actually look online. They have quite a few really cool things online at their website. The website would be unclaimedbaggage.com. They also have a ski sale. The first Saturday of every November for 40 years, they've had the biggest event of the year, which is the ski sale. Unclaimed Baggage. Check it out. We have a few more destinations to discuss. Don't lose me yet. We got a lot more to talk about. Okay, North Alabama. That's a whole geographic region devoted to just promoting the northern part of Alabama. We talked about Decatur, Alabama. We've got Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue, a coon dog cemetery. How cute is that? The Fame Recording Studio, Helen Keller's Birthplace, Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, Rattlesnake Saloon, Unclaimed Baggage, and the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. Those are just a few of the things that you can see in Visit North Alabama. There's some pictures. There's the Rocket Center. They also have a gazillion trails. And so this is one of the murals in Decatur. I thought that was so pretty. And this might be Big Bob Gibson's barbecue. I'm not positive, but it looks like it could be. So some of the trails in North Alabama, and my friend Connie wrote the equivalent book to the one that I co-authored. Her book is called 100 Things to Do in North Alabama Before You Die. So you might want to get that book if you're interested in learning more about the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association. Some of the intriguing trails in this area are the Agriculture Adventures, Barbecue Trail, Craft Beer Trail, the Hallelujah Trail with 32 churches that are at least 100 years old. 32. That is super, super impressive. There's the Motorcycle Trail, the Mural Trail, Train Depots Trail, which sounds really fun to me, a waterfall trail, and a wine trail. So North Alabama has a lot of great trails. I absolutely love those. You could probably get an app. I think they might have an app, or you can at least go to their website. Their social channels are Visit North AL, so you can go check them out. Let's talk about Wytheville, Virginia. Wytheville's just right across the line from West Virginia, so I've been in and out of here hundreds of times in my life, and I'll honestly say I didn't know Wytheville really had anything. And I've been so impressed over the past couple of years because their tourism department gets out and really shows people what's there. And so I want to go to Wytheville so bad. So as with Virginia, there are all these love statues. They're throughout the state, and that's a really nice one here. Here's a view of the downtown area. There is a historic restaurant in Wytheville called the 1776 Log House Restaurant. Never heard of it until this conference that I was at. It burned down and it's reopened again. It looks pretty fascinating. Don't expect a menu like Mickey's Tavern in Charlottesville. It's not that historic, but it is a nice menu and all this sort of thing. So it looks fascinating. I would love to check it out. There's Broadway in the Mountains, which has a 4-course meal followed by a Broadway caliber musical at the Wolfart House Dinner Theater. I've passed this place for years and always wanted to stop, but generally when I'm coming through Wytheville, I'm on an 8 or 10 hour road trip or 14 hour, and I just don't feel like it. So Wytheville would have to be a destination for me to actually go to and stay for a weekend. There's the Millwall Theater, which is the original neon sign is lit and once again welcoming folks for classic movie screenings and lively musical performances. Here's a picture of the theater. It looks fascinating. And let's see, anything else? There's some quirky Wytheville landmarks like this big pencil. The biggest pencil in Virginia. I've seen quite a few of those around the country. They have dinner with a ghost. That sounds fun. In the fall of 2023, they're also getting a hockey rink. So that's really cool. In Wytheville, Virginia, literally the Federal Prospects Hockey League. So that's gonna be really awesome. And then there's a lavender farm in Wytheville. Who knew? And with a butterfly house, I would love to go take pictures of the lavender farm. It's a 210-acre retreat. This lavender farm is. You can go get lotions and culinary products, soaps, and so forth. Plus, they have a cafe with what they are listing as herbal craft cocktails and DIY pizzas. That sounds really fun. This is Shane. Shane runs the tourism board in Wytheville. He does a great job of promoting the area. So anyway, Wytheville looks great. There's also a thing here called the first female president. Edith Wilson was born on Main Street in Wytheville. She was a descendant of Pocahontas and the only Appalachian-born First Lady. There's a fun fact for you. She was married, of course, to President Woodrow Wilson. But Wytheville is home to both a museum and a boutique hotel named in her honor. So y'all want to check that out. I love presidential history, and First Lady's history is just as good. It also says that Wytheville is a fisherman's paradise, home to more than a dozen sport fishing species, I guess. Here are some pictures of Wytheville. Great motorcycle ride, too. There's only one Wytheville in the whole country. I love that. It's really easy to brand your place whenever there's one. So Wytheville, Virginia, put that on your map. Put that on your radar. Literally, Wytheville's moving up in the world. We have the Kentucky Department of Tourism. So this is just the state. They just do a one-off sheet like this talking about some things that are new in Kentucky. So if you're interested in traveling Kentucky, let me tell you a couple things that are new. Well, first of all, let's mention that there are 45 Kentucky state parks. You can rent houseboats. Land between the lakes region is fascinating. We did this when we were RVing. I've written about it for Travel Awaits. I haven't written about it on my blog yet, but it was fascinating. It's just a really cool place, unlike anything I've ever seen in the United States. A few hidden gems they talk about in the Bluegrass State are the Bluegrass Hall of Fame and Museum, the National Quilt Museum, which is in Paducah. It's also a UNESCO creative city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site creative city. The National Corvette Museum, probably everybody's driven by that at some point in time. Cumberland Falls, which is called the Niagara of the South. And it says the only place in the Western Hemisphere where you can regularly see a moonbow. That sounds fascinating. I've seen the pictures of it. It is absolutely beautiful. And Mammoth Cave National Park. It's the world's longest known cave system at 420 miles. It's also newly a certified International Dark Sky Park. If you're going to Mammoth Cave National Park, you will need a reservation. The tours sell out extremely fast. Trust me on this, been there, done that. New and noteworthy in Kentucky, the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory unveiled a large-scale renovation and new exhibits. And the Kentucky Derby, just 12 days ago, celebrated... Oh, sorry, I lied. In 2024, on May 6th, the Kentucky Derby will be 150 years old. 150 years old. Man, that's impressive. That is so impressive. Now let's talk about Memphis, Tennessee. I loved meeting with this lady that's working with the tourism in Memphis. She had so much great energy. Just loved her. So if you haven't been to Memphis, Memphis is a powerhouse city. There are so many things to see and do there. Probably the most popular, I'll show you some of these pictures as we go. Here's Stax Records. This was Famous Recording Studio. You can do tours there. Of course, here's Graceland, and we all know what goes on at Graceland. It's super expensive, though. So if you're going to Graceland, like, look for some coupons or go see a timeshare or whatever you can, because it is really expensive. Here's Sun Studio. You can go to all these recording studios where the greats were. Here's some of the murals downtown, right here. And let's skip on over and see what's on this page. There's 100 barbecue joints in Memphis. Oh, Lord, I have eaten barbecue in Memphis, and it is, like, pretty fantastic. So there's the Hyatt Centric on Beale Street. I haven't seen that hotel yet, but Beale Street is where you want to be. That's where you go for just fun, live music, and, of course, great barbecue. Here's a street scene of Beale Street, probably one of the most iconic streets in America. It is home of the blues, soul, and rock and roll. So they give a 3-day guide for what to see and do whenever you're in Memphis. I've been to Memphis only on day trips multiple times, so most of these things I have done. Like I said, Graceland is super expensive. It's something you definitely need to do at one point in your life. There is the National Civil Rights Museum. This is the historic Lorraine Motel, the site of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So this is an interpretive center as well as a national park. It is absolutely fabulous. You can go there and see the museum and just see the things free of charge, but you do have to pay or have a national park pass to get into the museum. It is absolutely wonderful. It's definitely a place that you'll want to go. And I love whenever I go there, I'm just like standing out there taking pictures and I see these kids asking very hard questions and their parents answering the questions. So it's really good that they're exposing them and they're actually seeing real history here in Memphis. Because I think sometimes the history does get overlooked because there's a lot of big flashy things. You can also kayak the Mississippi River. And I'm pretty sure that Memphis is really expanding on their outdoor setting, like their natural, the beauty and the river and the just that sort of nature thing. That you don't really think about #mustbe-Memphis. Whenever you're talking Memphis, you think of probably Martin Luther King and barbecue and Graceland and Beale Street, live music and jazz. But there's a lot of like beautiful natural area too. So I love that they're exploring that. Here's the Shelby Forest. Look at that right there. And this is Memphis. Memphis, y'all. So anyway, there's some things to think about in Memphis. Let's talk about Thoroughbred Country, South Carolina. This is home to the Thoroughbred horses, I'm assuming. The towns are Aiken, Allendale, Bamberg, and Barnwell. I haven't been many places in South Carolina at all. So this has 11 tourism regions, what's considered Thoroughbred Country. So they must be very small destinations, I would think. Here's like some cotton growing, and here's some camping and so forth. Here's some of the region highlights. This is where polo is. Like there's various polo locations in Aiken. So I think that's pretty fascinating. There's also the Wilcox Hotel. I've had some writer friends stay there and the pictures look really fascinating. It was recognized by Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast Traveler. So it's pretty really swanky hotel and resort, but they also do 100 planet-friendly practices to make their spa and so forth a better place. So that's really impressive. Then there's the South Carolina Jug Faces. As I mentioned earlier, the Little Red Barn Gallery is where master potter Liz Ringus creates those pottery pieces that have the faces on them. So I'm sure that's really cool. There's a Living History Park. That sounds really awesome. Has 20 buildings and an historic interpretation. They also have special events around Christmas. And then there's the Red Cliff Plantation State Historic Site. It's a Greek Revival antebellum mansion of James Henry Hammond and 4 generations. So that is on the National Register of Historic Places. So there's lots of great history here. Thoroughbred country. Now let's talk about Visit Cincy. So this is northern Kentucky, but they're saying Visit Cincy. So we're just going to consider northern Kentucky and Cincinnati as one destination. It's literally separated by a bridge. And they both have like really great things to see. So here's the Newport Aquarium. This is like, I think is one of the best aquariums in the whole country. I love to go there for that. Hofbrauhaus at Newport. That's the German place. We have one of these in Vegas too. The National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. So if you're looking for civil rights sites, Cincinnati's got this really big one. I think it actually might be in Newport. And then let's see over here. Of course, you have like any kind of sports offering you should ever want. The Ark Encounter. If you've ever thought about doing the Ark Encounter, I have a video on my YouTube channel, Wherever I May Roam blog. I also have stories about it on the blog. The Ark Encounter is absolutely fantastic. It's great for anybody. There's beautiful gardens, lots of history. There's a lot of outdoor parts to it, not just going through the Ark. Then there's the Megacorp Pavilion. I'm guessing they have a lot of concerts down here. And then these are the BB riverboats. So I've done this. Cincinnati, you actually get on the boats in Newport, I do believe. And the tour is fantastic. I've done the lunch tour a couple different times. So it's around $50, $55 or so. You get lunch included and I think a 2-hour guided tour up the river explaining all the things you see, all the Cincinnati skyline and so forth. But anyway, that's a fantastic thing to do. Very family friendly as well. Let's talk about coastal Mississippi. Coastal Mississippi had a rebranding a few years ago. And so now the term coastal Mississippi actually means something. It isn't just a series of little towns at the bottom of Mississippi, but it is Mississippi beaches. And it is a very awesome place too. So here's a picture of Biloxi, and here's the Biloxi Lighthouse right here. This is Patty. She's the tourism person. Casinos. A lot of casinos at coastal Mississippi, which I absolutely love. And here's one of the art galleries. So let's see. Some of the things they're talking about are the Orr O'Keefe Museum of Art. And that may be there. I'm not sure if that's the Orr O'Keefe. But the Orr O'Keefe Museum is absolutely fantastic. It's also a Frank Gehry. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Beautiful, beautiful building. Stunning. There's also the Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum. That's a fun little museum. One of the coolest things I've found there, and it's super inexpensive, is how a child basically invented a shrimp peeling machine, deveining shrimp for restaurants and things. And it's there, and it shows you how it works and everything. So that was really cool. You can also do a ship island excursion. So that sounds fun. This is also in the area of the Gulf Islands National Seashore. You can do, here's one of the shrimp boats, the Biloxi Shrimping Tour. I've done this before. That's pretty fun. Just getting out on the water for a different view of coastal Mississippi. It says that there are 12 casinos with sports betting. I think I've been to probably 6 of them. I didn't realize there were 12, but I'll have to go back to coastal Mississippi so I can go to those. So the areas in coastal Mississippi are Ocean Springs. Just from my point of view, that's where you do the upscale shopping and dining. Gulfport, that's kind of fun and funky. Good coffee shops, walk around, see some good murals. Cute little bookstore. Bay St. Louis, that's like great for lodging, boutique style lodging, really good restaurants, just super cute, very concentrated areas, but definitely add Bay St. Louis to and past Christian, which is on the far end, to your coastal Mississippi travels. And then of course downtown Biloxi, which is of course the Hard Rock Hotel, the Beau Rivage, like big, wonderful hotels and casinos. So Biloxi is probably where most people go when they go to coastal Mississippi, but there's plenty of other places to check out as well. We have 2 more. Staunton, Virginia. Looks like Staunton, but I'm pretty sure they pronounce it Stanton, so we're just going to call it Staunton for now. This is the view of Staunton, Virginia. It's absolutely beautiful. Probably one of the most recognized areas in the South. Some of the things to do in Staunton are the Virginia Scenic Railway. There are 2 historic hotels of America, the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Library and Museum, the American Shakespeare Center. It wins lots of awards. It's actually like one of the South's best food spots, best small towns in America per the Smithsonian and so forth. So anyway, I haven't stayed here, but I have done the Presidential Museum. So here's the street view. It says one of America's most beautiful streets. So the location of Staunton, Virginia. You are located between the scenic Blue Ridge Mountains to the east and the Allegheny Mountains to the west, right in the heart of Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. So you know you're going to need your camera at all times because you're going to take a million great pictures. There's also the Red Wings Roots Music Festival, a 3-day event in July with national headliners. Sounds fantastic. You can stay at the Blackburn Inn. I think that's one of those historic Hotel of Americas. And then they also have a Living History Frontier Culture Museum that looks at pioneer life in early America. And here's a picture of that. Here's a picture of one of the historic hotels. So anyway, Staunton, Virginia, if you're looking for a place in Virginia to travel. And let's do one more. Visit Mississippi. So Visit Mississippi was at this conference, and they are just talking about some new things in the state of Mississippi. Since my family lives in Mississippi, let's pay special attention to that one. Catfish Row Museum in Vicksburg, they've expanded on that. Jackson Museum Trail. This is a multi-phase under construction. You can walk it or do it by bike. The museum trail eventually will connect the Mississippi Farmers Market to the Mississippi Ag and Forestry Museum to provide access to 3 parks and 6 museums along the way. I love the Mississippi Ag Museum. It's a super great place to just go see some very interesting things. My granddaughter loved it too. You can sample like honey sometimes. They have like the egg. Mississippi Ag does a lot of things with eggs. So I've learned a lot of things at this Ag Museum. Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg is just like growing like crazy. So if you recognize one name in Mississippi, it's going to be Hattiesburg, because that's the one that just keeps making the news, because they just keep pushing the boundary and pushing the envelope to just do better and better and better and get bigger and better and so forth. So Hattiesburg is just booming. And they have a public art trail, and this is made like national news. The art trail has more than 40 large-scale murals and sculptures, as well as a series of 100 painted utility boxes. So something they don't mention here is that they also have a pocket park. And they were the first people in the country that I've heard to term it a pocket park. But it's literally an alley with art in all shapes and sizes. It's not just things painted on the wall, but there's just a lot of things to see in that. And here's one of the painted electrical boxes. Like, it's just so cute. You're going to have these all over the country, but why not just make them fun, you know? Okay, then it also talks about, again, we're talking about Mississippi in general, but another thing about that Hattiesburg is that the Hattiesburg Zoo is expanding. They're opening the Serengeti Springs Water Park attraction in the summer, this summer. It's going to have 3.5 acres with a 150,000-gallon lazy river, a swim-up bar, and Fusion Fortress, which is a water play structure that's 62 feet high. That's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to take my granddaughter there. I'm already digging the Serengeti Springs, and I don't even know if it's open yet. Something they draw attention to up here that really caught my eye is the USA International Ballet Competition, June 10th to 24th. Jackson is hosting the USA International Ballet Competition, one of the world's oldest and most renowned dance competitions. It is held in Jackson. It's only one of the 4 cities in the world chosen to host the event every 4 years. So I've never been to that. I've never even heard anything about it. So now you know. The Mississippi Aquarium down in Gulfport continues to draw attention. And then last but not least, there's the Self-Guided African American History Tour, which is the Natchez Museum of African American History and Culture unveiled a self-guided tour of 27 markers placed throughout the city that relate to African American history. I've seen a couple of these, so that's looking really good. Here's a couple of pictures from the Mississippi stuff. So hopefully this video and part 1 will give you some ideas on where to go, what to see, some new ideas for road tripping or vacationing or whatever you do for 2023. I have 2 more conferences coming up, so I'll have lots more details for you. One is going to be Midwest based, and one is going to be all over the whole country because it's just a free-for-all. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something. I hope I've given you some ideas. Talk to you later.